Um, Welcome everybody. For those of you who I haven't met, my name is Jo Jones. I represent Derwent Pony Club in the Southern Zone, and I'm also one of the on the Chief Coaches Panel from the South. There's a team of us that are presenting tonight, but we're really hoping the session can be quite interactive. So please feel free to ask questions or write comments in the chat as we go. For those of you who haven't used Zoom before, if you hover your mouse over the bottom of the screen, a little toolbar should pop up. And on that toolbar, there's a couple of little actions that you can do. So if you know that you might have some background noise for the next little bit while we're presenting some information, you can press the little microphone button and that will mute your sound. So you can have background noise and it won't distract the meeting. Same with your video. You can turn your video off if you wanted to. There's also a little box for chat, and that will bring up a chat function on your right-hand side of your screen. Oh, is that me drawing? I don't know what I did there. Sorry. You can write comments in there or ask questions of anybody. Tonight you're going to hear from myself, from Jules, from Bree, and also from Jess and Grada. So all of us are very happy to answer any questions, but we acknowledge there's obviously a huge amount of knowledge and experience in the group that's joining us, so that anyone could jump in and help us answer any questions. So we'll kick off. We've just got some sort of relevant updates to start with, and then we're going to open it up and get some feedback from you guys as well.
Hey, Jo, I am here too, Hayley.
Oh, and Hayley's here too. Welcome, Hayley. Great. Glad you're on here, Hayley. Awesome. If we look at what our sort of core objective in Pony Club is, it is about offering a fun, inclusive environment where riding is just the beginning. And when I was reading some of the information that's in the new coaching manuals, it was just a really good reminder to see that our job is also very much to help our members with learning about horse management, first aid, tack, road safety, caring for horses, groundwork, and really fostering that lifelong love of horses. So it's just a timely reminder to remember all the things that we're meant to be able to do through our activities at rallies. It's always a great opportunity just to reflect on the code of conduct. So all officials, coaches, club executives, members, parents, we're all meant to adhere to these expected behaviours. And, 99% of us hopefully lead our lives by these types of behaviours, but it doesn't hurt to remind our clubs every now and again about some of the things that we are expecting. So around integrity and safety and honesty. And so that code of conduct can be found on the PCA website and is also in a good form that you can actually print out and pop up on your notice board in clubs and things if you did have any issues or challenges. What we were hoping today, this meeting was designed and a brainchild of Jules. So Jules shared that in her zone, often the DCs and chief coaches and test coordinators get together and share ideas and challenges. And we realised it wasn't something that all zones do. So we thought it was a great opportunity to try and squeeze a meeting in. We know it's a really busy time, but thanks everyone for managing to jump on tonight, and we will share the recording with people who weren't able to join. But yeah, this idea of club teamwork we all know it, and we all know that it's a really key part of what makes Pony Club successful. This slide is just around, we know we have to keep our riders and horses safe. It's a core objective of all officials in the club. And we can see that is a real partnership. The DC, the chief coach, obviously are really integral to keeping that safety at the forefront. But when we're teaching our trainee coaches and our coach updates, we tell them that there's some key things we need to always remember. Designated first aid officer, who is that on the day? Does it change or is it always the same person? Are we relying on perhaps some of our coaches to be the first aid officer? And if we are, how are we going to manage if they needed to leave a lesson to go and do first aid somewhere else? Those kind of things, really good idea to have discussed as a committee or as a team. Risks and hazards related to our venue. Sometimes we can get, a little bit relaxed around our clubs because we almost live there as much as we do at home sometimes. But yeah, just refreshing risk assessments and hazard analysis for our venues. Incident reporting, another really important aspect of safety. So just having a conversation about whether we're sharing that whether people have the app directly on their phone and they're able to fill it in there, or are we providing coaches with a paper copy in a clipboard at the beginning of the day and they're going to jot the things down in there and someone in the committee is going to complete that incident report. So have just a reminder to have that conversation in your clubs. And then around payment of coaches, it's often something we hear is a tricky thing. People don't know how much to charge or how much to pay. So just a reminder that Grata has got on the Pony Club Tas website a form that I've got a screenshot of the link here. So you can click on that club coach booking form. It's a really great resource if you're engaging a new coach for the first time. Helps you get all their details, including their banking details, what they want to charge, what their key expertise areas are, and things like that. So just a reminder that form is there. I'm going to hand over to Jules now, and Jules is just going to talk a little bit around coaching levels and how they fit in with our Pony Club rallies and our syllabus.
One needs to unmute oneself. So the foundation coach is really our learning to coach stage for coaches, and generally working in the less pressure areas and learning the basic skills of coaching. And any parents would be great for them to do, or club officials would be to do the foundation coach to get the basic skills and have an understanding of what goes through the system, and just to give them a better induction into the Pony Club system too, really. Preliminary coach, as it says, is from E to D star levels. And D star level can coach up to 65 centimetres. And it's a long time since I've been one. And they can now coach privately. So yeah, they're coaching to 65 centimetres, back down to the little people, which are probably the most challenging kids. And a level 1, thank you. Why didn't I click on that? Okay, here's the matrix that says it all. So yeah, the idea of the coaches matrix is to make it clear to clubs, not test coordinators, chief coaches and the coaches what they can and can't coach and what their expectations of them are. It doesn't, just because you're a level 1 jumping specialist, it doesn't mean you have to coach to the metre 20. The coach can say, look, I've only been this for a little while. I'm much more happy to coach around the metre. So just because they had the qualification, you still need to check they're comfortable to teach at the extent of the qualification. So always keep that in mind. And when you're booking a coach, cross country, flat work, to a degree games, you can have your groups reasonably muddled to a degree, not too muddled. You don't want all the little ones in there. But when you're teaching show jumping where you don't have a range of fences that you have to work with, I've gone off the matrix, I'm lost. Thank you.
Sorry, Jules, you need to sack me. Sorry.
Geez, Joe. Yeah, be considerate when forming groups what your coach can and can't do with that mix of riders and horses. And that will make your rally run a lot smoother too, because you won't have 4 kids sitting there going, oh God, do we have to wait for her to do that? Try and keep your groups balanced as much as possible, which isn't always easy. Yeah, and there's more coming along in the stream. There's meant to be a dressage specialist. Have we got that in? We have got that in, yes. For those coaches who are very competent level 1 coaches but don't want to coach jumping. If there's any questions on it, who's that?
Jules, do you just want to touch on the recent change to volunteers?
Yeah, volunteers basically are now cannot coach jumping. They can do poles, simple exercises. So if something goes pear-shaped and you have to get a volunteer to coach, you really need to adjust your rally plan a little bit to fit around it, because volunteers aren't covered to coach jumping now. And that's really because sometimes a volunteer may be an unknown quantity in the situation. Like they may be very, very competent riders and so forth, but coaching is a very different skill set. So that's why that's been reducted back to that. Yeah. And as was brought up last night, me leaving my car keys in the washing machine and waiting for the cycle to finish before I could get them out did cause some volunteers to have to step in and cover for me and take a trail ride. Anything else I need to be covering there, Jo?
No. Does anyone have any question for Jules around coach levels and what they're insured to teach?
C-list means graders have beautiful lists on the web page of officials and coaches, okay? Okay, moving on.
Okie doke. So we just thought we'd share some of the in the last couple of months, we've run a few training sessions. One is what we call the annual coach update. So everybody that is a Pony Club coach is invited to participate in a bit of an update session. And then we've also had our training session for any trainee coaches. So anyone that is in the process of becoming accredited. And we shared some information which we thought we should share tonight with some DCs and chief coaches and test coordinators. So some of the things that we think makes people a really great coach is that they know what's expected of them and that they adhere to those expectations. Obviously, we want them to always provide a safe environment for learning, and we know that's important relationship with the club. A coach can't do that alone. They need to be considering facilities and all of those sorts of things that Jules talked about before in terms of mixed group levels and all of those things. But yeah, it needs to be safe for the rider, safe for the horses, and safe for spectators. Obviously, we want our rallies to be fun. We want our kids to keep coming back. We want them to have a great experience. So fun and appropriate for their experience and age levels. We want the coach to use and draw on their skills and knowledge. So allowing them to coach to their interests and passion is often a really great way to bring out the best in them. So those conversations that Jules touched on about what are they happiest in coaching and teaching is a really handy thing. And we also obviously want our coaches to support our riders to achieve their goals. Everybody on the screen tonight, I know we're all volunteers and we all do our best, and we know that processes and policies and procedures are always changing, but just a reminder that we all need to stay on top of everything if we possibly can as a committee within our clubs. So the syllabus of instruction is a really great resource. Obviously the national gear rules, which Hayley's going to talk about in a second. The horse welfare policy is a fabulous document which has some really clear instructions around what behaviours are thought of as breaches of that policy, and then what we can be doing in rallies and supporting our members to do best practice in terms of horse welfare. And then the handbook is literally the source of all knowledge, and a lot of work goes into updating that handbook every year. So it's usually the best first spot to look for something. And if you can't find it, Grada's always a great person to reach out to help with finding rules and regulations. Yeah, so this is some of the things we suggest DCs and chief coaches chat with their coaches about when they're booking them. So, you know, the more information they can share, the better their lesson plans are going to be, and hopefully the better the teaching experience is going to be. So they would like to know what the group sizes are, what the standard ages, experience levels are, the discipline you would like them to teach, or are you leaving that up to them? Does the club have a yearly master plan? Can they align some of their lessons with your master plan? So, for example, in March and April, you'd like a focus on games, or in April, you're going to focus on dressage champ preparation. Those kind of things really help a coach in their planning. Any learning, behavioural health challenges that the riders might have, that's really important for our coaches to be made aware of before the day. And also the interests of the kids. So if we often hear, you know, we've got this group of 9-year-old boys and we're really trying to keep them really engaged. So, you know, is there something special we could do to help engage those kids? Or the opposite, we've got a group of 16-year-olds that are sort of teetering on whether they're going to keep going. How can we keep them engaged? Obviously, it's really helpful to know what equipment and facilities the club has before the day, what's available for the lesson, and then a little bit more about the whole rally timetable for the day, because it's really handy to know, okay, am I getting these kids in their final lesson of the day when they're going to be a little bit more tired, or am I getting really fresh thoroughbreds at the start of the day? Helps people plan some good engaging lessons. These are some of the things we're encouraging our coaches to ask DCs and chief coaches when they're booked. These are the sorts of things they might share. So I'm a prelim coach, they might say, so I can't coach an 85 centimetre group. Or has this group been off lead before? Or are they usually sufficiently controlled to canter as a group? So the more information you can share, the better the experience is going to be. We get, especially around qualification time for qualifying for champs or trials, we get lots of questions around what constitutes as a working rally. So I thought I'd put a screenshot out of the handbook. So that point D there, it suggests that a rally should be divided into at least 3 or preferably 4 sessions. They don't all have to be ridden activities, but basically what we're asking for is a full day activity, a full day rally, if you like. And then some of the things that we need to consider to plan that rally are rider age and experience, horse age, fitness and health. So you're not going to give kids 3 1-hour lessons in a row from 9 till 12, for example, without a break. Try and design rallies around the syllabus, the facilities and equipment that you've got available, the coaches you have access to, hopefully considering the aspirations and motivations of the membership, the number of members, and also a social interaction and a fun element. I'm going to hand over now to Jess, and she's going to talk about how we can align our rallies and our activities with proficiency testing and building knowledge. Yeah, you're right, Jess.
Sorry, guys, I'm just being moved where I was sitting in the pub. Give me 1 second.
No worries. Jess is sharing her time between our meeting and an NTEC meeting. So thanks, Jess, for finding a quiet spot.
Sorry, guys, I've just been kicked out of the room that I was in, and now I'm sitting next to the toilet. Fantastic. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining in tonight. So I'm just in here quickly to give everyone a little bit of a brief about my experience going through the Pony Club system, and what sort of support, what ideas worked really well for me, getting me through to my A certificate. So obviously I'm a little bit older now. I've aged out of Pony Club. I joined Pony Club when I was 9 years old with Deloraine Pony Club, and I had a really good group of friends and parents to support me all the way through the Pony Club system. So I went through Pony Club until I was 25, and I did my A certificate when I was 21 or 22, so quite early on. Things that worked really well in keeping myself and my peer group engaged with doing our Pony Club certificates. We had a good group, I think, is what the key thing comes down to. We had a really good group within our club of 4 or 5 girls who wanted to do things, wanted to compete, and supported each other as well. So we all did our C and C star together. And one of the key things when we got to the C star and the K, because obviously that's when you start needing to do some extra things, some things outside of rallies, get a little bit more knowledge in, is we ended up, I clearly remember them, we would carpool. We'd all get together once a week, about 3 months before our proficiency test, and we would carpool out all the way out to Carol Hobson's place. And we'll do a theory night once a week or once a fortnight with her. And it was a really good, it was just a really good method of keeping us engaged, giving us that kind of friend and the support group, and getting us through our proficiency testing. It had a lot of camaraderie about it as well, and it was a lot of fun, to be honest, because we were all there to support each other. So I like to think of, and I do encourage it a lot, I like to think of training or the proficiency testings, or just training the riders' horses themselves as a sporting group, like a hockey team or tennis training or football training. And it's a really good approach to take because it has that teamwork. It lets them know that they're not alone, and it just creates a really good atmosphere in order to get the training in, because really we're training. We might not be training them physically so much as we're doing a lot of theory sides, but it was a really good thing to do. And it was only for 3 months or 2 months prior to the proficiency testing that we did. But it got all of our knowledge there. It was only for an hour, and it was a commitment, I guess, more or less. So that method worked really well for our C star and our K certificates. After that point, my next one was my B certificate, and I was the only one from my peer group who then decided to go on and do my B certificate. And I guess more or less that's more self-driven than anything else. But again, I had 2 people outside of my club who were older than me, who supported me and encouraged me to go on and do my proficiency testing for my B. So those people, it was Hayley Atkins was one of them. And so she really helped me, particularly doing my A certificate with my long reining. And the other one was Danielle Watley, who was within my club at the time. So they encouraged me to keep on going and do my B certificate. It was mostly self-driven at that stage, but then the other person that really helped and drove me a lot was still Carol Hobson, in all honesty. And you had any questions, you'd flick them through questions, they'd answer anything. And they were really proactive at signing me off on items as well. So they encouraged the use of RPLs. So they could see me out competing at whatever level I was competing at. They could see me at rallies. They knew what my skill set was and they knew what my knowledge was. And so being able to just automatically tick things off without actually needing to assess them was also very handy. And we're very fortunate in Tassie because that's what we're able to do, more or less. doing my A certificate at that stage, I was working full time and I was at uni full time as well. So the A certificate was difficult to get done. I was 21 at the time, and I did have to teach a horse how to long rein from the start, which was very interesting. I remember the first time I did long reining, and we used one of Haley's horses to teach me how to do it. And I was like, oh my God, this is the weirdest feeling in the world. What on earth is happening? What is going on right now? So it's creating a nice environment. It's a fun environment, and that wanting the need to learn extra items. Looking back now and being an assessor as well and a coach, I find that the biggest part that our riders are lacking in or they're struggling in when trying to pass their higher level proficiency testing is the competition experience and competing in that higher levels. So a lot of our riders are now getting stuck in that 95 or the meter show jumping range, or only the novice dressage instead of the elementary dressage. So that means that they're not able to pass their B certificate or the A certificate as well as they should be able to do. We know that they have the horsemanship knowledge, we know that they have the on the ground knowledge and a whole bunch of other skills, but the ability to jump around a meter 10 track isn't there. And it's really, I feel for them a lot, because it's the only thing that they might be missing, or they might not have done an elementary dressage test or something like that. So I think it comes down to at some stage that you need to encourage your riders to seek private coaching outside of the Pony Club rally dates in order to get their skill set to a high enough level to encourage them through. And if you encourage them to do some private coaching outside of a rally, it doesn't necessarily have to be with a high level coach. It can be with someone within your pony club, but that one-on-one coaching is invaluable for them, because you really get to pick up on little things that they do. As a coach working with groups at pony club rallies, you don't get to really work with their skill set nearly as much as what you want to be able to, or as much as what they need. So the one encouraging them, pushing them through to do one-on-one coaching is really, really important. That goes for lunging, for jumping, for cross country, for any of the practical side, and even the theory. Having someone to sit there one-on-one with you is a really good item to do. So it may be something to encourage through in your rally days, is giving your higher level riders some one-on-one time as well. Was there anything else that I needed to cover, Jo?
That's awesome, Jess. Does anyone have any questions for Jess? Great. And I know Jess has offered...
Sorry.
Oh, go, Steph.
Sorry, Jo. Can I ask Jess, sorry, with the change with the syllabus, how, we're now using the McLean system, where do you think the importance of getting coaching for the kids with people that are really knowledgeable of the newer system, how important do you think that is now?
Get it to them early. And it's something that if you can get the language into the riders early and get the knowledge into the riders early, it's invaluable. I mean, obviously going through the older system that I did, I struggle to take time to sit back and have a look at what the new terms are and what the new syllabus is. And it is, I can see the riders who have been doing it now for 2 or 3 years and how easy it is for them to pick it up and bring it along. And it's much easier for the younger riders than it is for the older ones. Doesn't mean that how I've been taught and how I went through the syllabus is wrong, because I can still see all of the things that I learnt being reflected in the equitation science. It's just different language and some slight tweakings to it. So definitely do the equitation science, do it early with the young kids, get them used to it.
Yep. We are within our pony club. We certainly are using all the right terms, and we're really encouraging it. I'm just wondering for the older girls, well, we've got girls that are older and that are sort of going for the higher tests at the moment. What are your thoughts, on using people that actually have credentials within the equine science, world? Do you think that would be a good idea to encourage it within pony club as a general rule?
With credentials in the equitation science, maybe not so much as regular coaching, but perhaps getting them in, like on a Zoom, because it's hard to get the young people to engage on a Zoom and speak, but have them come in and have a talk and encourage them to pick their brains. I think the biggest part of the equitation science at the moment that the kids struggle with, because really I feel as though they understand a lot of concepts and they know what the concepts are, they struggle with the terminology and remembering the 10 things or the 5 things and what the correct terminology is. So I actually think maybe one of your biggest tools to get these kids on top of the equitation science is good old flashcards. If you have flashcards and the kids have to do them like what they would with their year 11 and their year 12 studies to remember them and be on top of them. Once they've got the memory in there and it's ingrained, then it would be really beneficial to get in an equitation science expert. But they've got to have the base understanding and the base knowledge and be confident in the equitation science terminology first.
Yep, great. Thank you, Jess.
Thanks heaps, Jess. And that leads on, if everyone's happy, to Bree. And then if there's still some questions around that, Jess might hang on for one more slide. And we'll hand over to Bree to talk about our peer support program, because it links in with what Jess was just saying.
Yes, thanks, Jo. So before I get too far into this, sorry, I've just got a bit of a cough. So if I start coughing, that's why. This is very much still a draft idea. We're still working on it. So we'd really welcome your feedback either now or if you go away and have a little bit of a think about it and want to come back to me or anyone on the Chief Coaches Panel after this. We would love that. But basically, for a bit of background, we know that participation in the PCA syllabus beyond C level is declining, and we're getting less and less people continuing through with their testing. And as Jess spoke about, that sort of idea of peer support is just a really important factor in people staying motivated and in making testing more fun and feeling like they're supported in it. And where once upon a time that might have been available at club level because there was more people doing it, clubs were bigger, it's much harder now, even sometimes at a zone level, to bring those people together. So what we'd love to do is find a way to connect all of these riders digitally across the whole state. So the idea is that anyone who is working towards, say, C star for the sake of this, will be brought together in some sort of digital forum where they can ask questions, they can have discussions, and it will have an older rider, say someone who's just done their B certificate, or a few of them will be in there to act as mentors, prompt discussions, and maybe run some either Zoom or in-person sessions depending on where everyone's located in the lead up to testing. And then we obviously would have parents involved in whatever platform we use, just from a safeguarding perspective. So yeah, as soon as they pass their C test, they'd be notified that they're sort of eligible, and we'd love to have you continue and you can join these groups. And then for the mentors, ideally they'll receive some sort of reward or honorarium, and they'll be able to get some RPL towards their coaching qualification. But the biggest challenge that we're having is identifying the best platform to use and how we're going to actually capture the riders and encourage them to participate in this. So yeah, if anyone's got any feedback on that now, I'd absolutely love to hear it, or any questions or anything like that. But that's basically a very brief overview of what this will look like. So yeah, any questions or thoughts?
And Bree, we're hoping to get that off in the new year, aren't we? Next year.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry,
may I just ask
I'm
a
asking
question?
lots
Oh,
of
sorry.
questions.
Well,
Maybe if we go Jess Holton first and then Steph.
Sorry, I'm just wondering, and this might not be a question that people can answer today, but and sorry to be that person, but what happens if you have a child that's wanting to progress through the, that's just about to complete their K and, wants to continue with their B, but isn't an eventing rider as such? Is there another pathway or a way to get through the syllabus without requiring the jumping component, or does that take away the idea of what the proficiency testing means?
So I might jump in here quickly. I'm state test coordinator. So for their B test, there is a non-jumping option or a minimal jumping option.
Yeah, right. Okay. Cool.
So they
you.
need to present an alternative discipline of some sort, be it long reining or something. We've had one rider present her stock horse challenges. We've had riders present text or obstacles. So, yeah, there is an option for them. It is actually quite clearly outlined in the B syllabus. But if you've got any more questions, please feel free to reach out. I'll always answer. I'll always help.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Hayley. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
No drama.
Steph, did you have a question before we move on?
Yes, just a brief question. Just about the age requirement for C star or K. We have some younger riders in our club that have completed their C but are working towards their C star. I note that there's an indication that they should be 14. Is that a hard and fast rule?
No, age requirements are actually gone. The right.
Oh, are they? Right.
Progress. Yep. You're right. They were a thing. You are definitely correct. It's fairly recent that they've removed those, but the age requirements for the testing have been removed, and the riders can move through at the rate that they are ready for with their riding and their capabilities. However, I will note that with the theory components, the old age requirements are fairly accurate on where their literacy levels may need to be to pass those written tests.
Yeah, that was just I was wondering that, and also with online sessions, perhaps a similar sort of age might be a good idea as far as the being able to engage with a peer group that are going through and asking similar questions and sort of on the similar train of thought, maybe.
Great feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Steph.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, we might flick on to the next slide, which is a bit of an update from Hayley, who is our state testing coordinator.
Hey, back again. More along the lines of me noting that at the moment, I have a large contingency of Northern Zone riders that are wanting to do B and A test. I'd love to check in with the other two zone test coordinators and see where they're at with riders wanting to go ahead and organising a day. Testing wise, if anyone's got any more questions along the lines of the one I addressed before, please ask now. Because otherwise everything else is very clearly outlined in the syllabus documents. Or do we want gear rules? Because I know I've got that as well.
If there's no specific questions for Hayley. We might just get a quick update from Grada, because this will just hopefully help some of our officials in uploading testing updates to Just Go.
Thanks, Joe. Hi. I think I've said this to many people. I'm sorry to sound like a broken record with this bit, but just to sort of highlight that the certificates do need to be recorded in Just Go, because there's certain things that we can reference then in Just Go to make sure that the kids have their appropriate level certificates for things like, even for some pony club activities, like going even trials, some national, international pony club activities require a certain level of certificate, and it's just a great idea to make sure that they're recorded in Just Go as the kids pass those certificates. I'm not sure if you're all aware, but our certificates from level C and above have also been approved for credit towards our Tasmanian Certificate of Education, which we're really lucky with. I don't think any other state actually has that. So they actually can get credit points towards their TCE, which is great for the kids. So as long as they achieve the certificate from 2023 onwards, that's when we received our accreditation. So again, when we do our submission to the Education Department, the task board, we do pull all of that data out of Just Go, because that's the only way we can know what certificates all the kids actually have, or the eligible certificates. So we pull that every November and send it to the task board to upload into the system against each of the kids' records. So it'd be great if, as I'd suggest that as kids actually pass their certificates, that you pop into Just Go. Club admins, zone admins can do this. If you find that like, it'd be a great idea even if the test coordinators could do it, because they would know exactly when which kids have passed. You can all do this in Just Go as long as you're club admin. If you have any issues and you can't see where to go to add the credentials in, or you don't have access, let me know and I'll add you in as an admin. But it's really easy. You just go into the rider's profile, you click on credentials, and you click on add credentials, which is that screen that Joe's got up on up there now. So, and just search for the certificate and put the date in that they got the certificate, and it's that easy. So if anyone has any issues or can't access it, please let me know. Oh, and we also use it for some of our state funding requirements as well, sort of as a bit of a KPI too, for how many certificates the kids are achieving. So it's sort of, the joy is spread statewide with some of that stuff. Thanks.
Awesome. Grada, I haven't been keeping an eye on the chat because of screen sharing. Is there any questions in there about proficiency testing before we move on?
Let me have a look. Oh, we have missed a couple. There were some peer group queries. Maybe I'll pop back to that. Felicity said, when are B and A testing scheduled for this coming year? Maybe Hayley, you might be able to. We got any days scheduled? I don't know that you've sent me any yet.
No, I currently haven't, because I was chasing interest, and at the moment, particularly for A test level, I'm still waiting on national to actually have the module assessments online.
Awesome. Felicity, I can answer that question, Felicity. I have done the submission for this year, but the kids won't actually miss out. So Felicity's just asked if it's too late for this year's kids if they haven't all been uploaded onto Just Go, for that to be sent through to TCE. As long as it's not a child who's actually at that higher age level, sort of on that going into year 11, it's not too late, because we're lucky that Task actually keep a track of all of the younger kids. So as the kids achieve their certificate, we can have them uploaded, even though they won't get used maybe for 5 years' time or however many years' time. So if you've got, especially if they're younger kids, Felicity, you can send me the list and let me know, and I can actually ask them to do a separate upload, particularly if it's not going to affect anyone who's going into that higher education level for next year. Do you want me to pop back to the peer group? Maybe Bree, Adriana has asked, has the peer group program been considered to be offered on a national level?
Not yet, but I think if we'd probably be the test case here, but if it goes well, then there's no reason why we couldn't take it to national and see if it's something that the other states would be interested in pursuing as well.
Thanks. And oh, sorry, Jules, I could see that you'd respond to that too. I'm trying to read ahead now. And just some nice feedback from Sarah, who said peer group sounds great. I have a 14-year-old working on K who I think would be more motivated if she had some peer encouragement. So that's really nice. That's what it's aimed at.
Absolutely. Great. All right. Well, we might move from proficiency testing over into some sort of competition bits and pieces. So I'm going to throw to Jules now, just for a bit of an overview around qualifications.
Okay. As we all know, you need to qualify for trials and state champs, etc., etc. Show jumping and dressage champs. And here's what we have listed for the jumping champs, which also needs rally qualifiers as well for horse and riders. So yeah, we have the one qualifier at the higher height, so riders don't get stage fright when they get to a jump off at champs. So they've had a little bit more practice at competing at a higher level than the start height. Because in years gone by, when it was all at the start height, the qualifiers, there was a lot struggling in the second round or the jump offs. So we changed the qualifications where they had to qualify slightly higher to ensure that they've had a little bit of experience at that level before getting to the champs. Yeah, but you can qualify with 2 rounds at the higher height, or even if you qualify grade 2, it doesn't mean you have to compete grade 2. You can drop back and compete grade 3 if the wheels have fallen off a bit and you're not overconfident competing at that level at champs. So feel free to make the decisions. Okay, eventing. We've changed the qualifications for qualifying for trials this year because we've allowing for that horse that always stops and freezes at the edge of the water or going down a drop jump. So we're allowing 60 penalties, which is 2 stops technically, and one with 20 stops for all grades. And hopefully that'll encourage a few more to plug on and get rid of the mindset, oh, I'm never going to get a clear. And also it's to stop a little bit of desperate riding also, and overriding with the desperation to get that clean round. Next. So dressage championships. Elementary obviously has a lower qualifying score because it's a much more technical level. So thinking that we're making it easier as it goes up is incorrect because the tests get a lot harder. So once again, the same as the jumping and the trials, you can qualify at a higher level and drop down if you feel the need, but you can't qualify at a lower level and compete higher. And correct me if I'm wrong, Grada, but the qualifying tests have to be on different days, is that correct? Or different judges?
2 different events. The different days.
Events.
Yeah, so 2 different days.
Yeah. So yeah, qualifiers need to be at 2 different events to count as qualifiers. Any questions, Nick? Moving on. Now this is still a little bit of a vision yet. Looking forward, we're looking at developing squads for each discipline towards going to nationals in 2027, because nationals is run every second year. And our plan is, it's still in the visionary stages at the moment. So if you want to input to help us formulate a plan, feel free. But with discussions with board about what we need for our riders to be the best they can at nationals for themselves, we thought we'd develop squads. And the qualifying score for squads won't be the same as qualifying scores for nationals. The idea is there's a base qualifying score for national for the squad, and once you're in the squad, we help you with training and planning, and even down to advising on how to get your horse prepped, because nationals falls at a bad time of year for Tassie. Everyone else is coming into in full swing of competition season on the mainland. Tassie, well, we're just starting to think about it, hoping we don't get washed out. So hopefully by doing a bit of squad training, we can put together a few smaller events and give them some match practice before they get to nationals. And yeah, being part of the squad will be one of the prerequisites for qualifying for nationals. So we're looking at sort of launching the squad through winter this year. We're not saying if you're not in it by then you won't be in it, but we'll be starting with it with expressions of interest and starting to get people's mindsets into what they need to do to prepare themselves and their horses for a national championship, which is on the other side of the water. Yeah, so qualifying scores for the nationals will possibly be adjusted, but hopefully with our mentorship and guidance through the squads, it will be a piece of cake for everyone. And it has been suggested that probably we should be looking at proficiency levels in accordance with competition levels also. Yeah, if you want to all let us know how you feel about that, or have any suggestions on what we can do to make our squad program work, that would be wonderful. Questions? Nope.
No? Great. All right. Well, we'll keep on moving. Thank you, Jules. Over to Hayley, just a quick update around national gear rules. Hayley, if you're talking, you're on mute. Have we lost Hayley? All good. So if she comes back, we can always hold questions. But basically, huge thanks to Hayley, who represents all of us on the National Gear Committee. And so she takes any requests on our behalf to that committee. She feeds back any updates to us. So recently, Hayley circulated the proposed gear changes. I think they went to everybody's zone for discussion. But yeah, if anyone has any questions or any feedback on any of those proposed changes or any things that they would like to have proposed, please get in touch with Hayley. Hayley is an absolute gun when it comes to gear and knowing where to find the rules and the wording in the manual. So yeah, she's also wonderful at getting back to you really quickly. So if you do have any questions, we just wanted to really reinforce that gear training and education really does happen at rallies. So the more you can do around this, the better and the safer our riders are going to be and our horses. What's really difficult is when new gear comes to competitions for the first time and it hasn't been sort of approved and checked at rallies. So if we can avoid that, that's a really great way to go. And it's just, you know, when things do come up, it's important to educate riders about why we have these rules. It's for their safety, it's for horse welfare, and it's also for fairness in competition, so everyone's playing by the same rules. Grada, go for it.
I didn't have a question, sorry. I was just letting you know that. Oh, and it is up. Hayley just having some technical difficulties with the unmuting, so she's just joining on her laptop. That's probably her now. So
okay, go for it. Not sure if you can hear us, Hayley, but yell out if you want to comment.
Yeah, I'm here now, and my phone's echoing at me, and it's really annoying. So, yep, Joe gave us a great overview. There is new rule changes coming through, including allowing bits with chains, so pellets, kimberwicks, etc., to be able to be used with a drop noseband. Western saddles are allowed to be used for rallies and activities as long as there's no jumping over 30 centimetres. There's quite a comprehensive list of bits. Just one that came up over the weekend. Double reins are only allowed in the discipline of showing, which is discipline group F, on a pelham, or for use in a double bridle for medium level dressage and above, or in the show ring. At this stage, there are a few other changes coming through, but we haven't had a chance to have a meeting yet, so those are not confirmed. If anyone is interested in that document and wants to give me some, or would like to see it, because I think I only sent it to the Chief Coaches Panel, please let me know, and I'm happy to forward that to anyone that's interested to give feedback on.
Any questions for Hayley around gear?
Yes, sorry, Hayley, can I just ask where, is it only through you that we can find those changes?
At this stage, yes. Once they are ratified by the Gear Committee, the new gear document will be uploaded to the PCA website for everyone to access.
Okay, thank you.
But Steph, Hayley has shared with all of the zone chief coaches. So if you wanted to have a little look at what was on it, I'm sure they'd be happy to share it with you.
Okay. Yep. I'll ask me. Thank you.
Fabulous. All right. In the interest of time, we'll keep on moving. This was just for Bree. I hope you saw that we delegated this slide to you.
I didn't, but it's okay. I can cover it. So really briefly, I guess this is the current Chief Coaches Panel. I won't read the slide to you. Everyone can read. But we are a pretty active group. So if you have things that you think, if you have suggestions or you have an idea and you're not sure where to send it in Pony Club land, especially if it's around testing or coaching or rallies, or if you need some extra support in your club, feel free to reach out to the person, one of the people in your zone. And if we can help you, we will, or hopefully we'll point you in the right direction. So yeah, I think that's really all on that. We'll keep going.
Fabulous. Thank you. I'm just going to stop sharing everybody. Oh, no, I was too premature. Sorry. I just remembered there was one more slide, which was kind of important. Sorry. Sorry, I know it's now 8 o'clock. So if anyone does need to disappear, we will totally understand. But what we were hoping to do was finish with a really quick session where we're going to pop you in breakout rooms. And in those groups, we would love you to discuss these 3 questions. And if someone could be a nominated spokesperson for each group so that we can just quickly come back together and share the key thoughts from each of the breakout rooms, that would be awesome. So I will type these in the chat, but basically we'd love to hear what's your biggest challenge for organising rallies in your clubs? Because if we come up with some themes, perhaps we can help. The second question is, if you were granted one wish to solve a challenge in your club, what would it be? And that doesn't have to be directed at rallies, it can be anything. And then just some feedback around what's working really well for encouraging riders to progress through the higher proficiency levels in your club. Awesome. All right, I'll stop sharing.
And we're back.
Awesome. Great. Bree, was there a spokesperson in your breakout room?
Well, we didn't actually decide on one. Gary or Wendy, do you want to be the spokesperson, or do you want me to summarise it?
Happy for you.
Okay.
You've probably got better notes down there.
So for the first one, challenge was finding coaches. So Gary's from the Northwest Coast. There's just not enough. A lot of them are competing and doing their own thing as well. And so when there's clashes with events, they can't get them. And then we also had the diversity of riders. When you've got a smaller rally and you might have really small children all the way up to adults, you can't have, 1-to-1 ratio. So just how to create a rally that works for every age group, I guess. And I did say that we're doing some work with coaches around coaching for different age groups, but it is just the start, so we're all working on that. And then our wishes were funding would solve a lot of problems straight away, some larger grants around infrastructure for clubs, to tick off those big ticket items, and then also just to have everyone being able to work towards their proficiency testing within their peer groups within the club, I think was the other thing. And we didn't really get to the third question, but there was a comment made that when you have back to the coaches, when you have good coaches that understand the syllabus and know how to teach it, that really helps with the proficiency testing.
Awesome. Thank you. Jules, who was in your room that might want to feed back from room 2?
We had Jess, Steph, and Lucy. Any of you guys like to talk?
I think you're
good, Jules.
good at talking.
You're our rep.
Thanks, ladies. Okay, question 1. Right, Zoom's taken over my screen. I need to look at my questions. Probably organising coaches when they cancel at short notice was one concern. One club's great because they have a really good parent group with lots of knowledge that can step in. One group would love their own pony club ground and not have to share. Midlands, well, they don't really have anything they wish for. They're perfect. And question.
Not say that, Jules.
That was the vibe I got.
Stand good.
That was the vibe I got. And question 3 was really about the need to develop the peer group to help the kids to get through to higher levels.
Awesome. Thank you. Group 2. Group 3, Marissa or Adriana, Felicity or Rebecca. Is anyone from that group happy to share?
I'm meant to be, but I'm happy for anyone else to take over.
No, go for it, please.
So one of the things that we found that we struggle with is obviously the difference of the rider levels and coordinating our groups to get them in effective groups for their certificates. Is there anything else anyone else wanted to add? Because I didn't take very many notes. Obviously, with numbers declining, it is a bit harder to try and, as covered before, get those groups in line with their ages and their skill sets so that everybody's having a good time.
Awesome. And what about the challenges, the general challenges? Did you guys have any thoughts that haven't been brought up yet?
No, I think most of those have been covered.
Great. All right. And any tips for what's working well with proficiency testing?
Do any of you ladies want to help me?
All good. If they've been covered already, don't stress.
Yes.
I
No, I
think
think most of
Beck,
them have been covered. I think the peer groups will make it.
well, Beck,
I
your
think one
club
of the things
already has really good peer group support for the riders,
Yes.
and that's why they do come through from that club, because they do have good peer support within the club.
Thanks, Jules. That makes us feel better.
I think one of the things we were just discussing was the volunteer side was one of the other things that we would like to try and build upon, encouraging and how to do that.
As in getting more volunteers, Felicity, or
Yeah,
helping
just
them
being
upskill?
able to sort of, upskilling would be great too, but just being able to, there's a lot of events on, and it's always during the season that you're trying to get people involved, and it's weekend after weekend after weekend, and it can become tiresome and tricky to get people involved. So any ideas around that would be fantastic on how people manage that, or their methods of encouraging and involving, and maybe recording or rewarding people that go above and beyond. I don't know. That's just my 2
Yeah,
cents.
awesome. I'm sure lots of other clubs would feel the same way. Great. Room 4, Hayley, Jean, Louise and Sarah. Anyone spokesperson from that group?
Go.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, similar challenges with coordinating rallies, and I think I'm with Huntingfield, so slightly different challenging that we can have like 15 if there's an event on, or we could have 30, and we don't close our rally entries until the Wednesday before. So we just talked about Hayley's recommendation was 7 to 10 days has been discussed. So we might talk to committee about pushing that out a bit, and that might help us be able to be a bit more bespoke about how we plan and not just jam it into the same structure every time. So that was a useful chat, and the smaller clubs obviously have the same challenges with mixed abilities. I was saying that one of our big challenges is we don't have many people with practical skills to be able to build things, drive tractors, but that was different to the northern smaller clubs that have farmers and helpful, constructive, practical people that struggle for the numbers to have the volunteers to run events or run the canteen. So it's interesting, like different challenges for different size clubs. And we didn't really talk much about proficiencies, but I was sort of saying we're doing pretty well up to C test, but then, I think peer groups would be really useful beyond that.
Fabulous. Great. Anyone did we miss anything, any good ideas that came up in those breakout rooms that didn't get discussed just then? No? Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, and apologies for going a little bit over. I know everyone's very, very busy at this time of year. The Chief Coaches Panel also wanted to know if you guys found this useful, whether it's something that you would like to have a couple of times a year, is once off a year enough? But yeah, we sort of would love to be guided by the needs of the clubs. So if you had any thoughts on that, perhaps type them in the chat, or any specific sort of training or skill development or discussions that might help you guys as committees as well. So that's it for tonight. Thanks to everybody who helped present little bits and pieces, and everyone for attending. Feel free to jump off if you've got other things to do. Otherwise, if you do have any last minute questions, feel free to hang on and ask. A few of us will stay online.
Thank you, Jo, for putting everything together and doing a lot of the work.
No worries at all.
Yes, thanks, Joe.
Thanks, everyone.